Romper Room, where we ball a break. Big wins, big losses, all at stake. Party vibe, poker life, always crunk. Feel rich, feel broke, that's just the funk, yeah. Seen boys rise, seen boys fall. Bluffing stacks, risking it all. Got the queens, thought I locked the pot. Straight flush flip, now I'm feeling shot. It's the hustle, it's the grind, no time to assume. All in a full life in the Romper Room.
What's up, you degenerates? Welcome back to Romper Room Poker.
Yeah.
Where we take all that complicated poker theory shit,
Yeah.
break it down.
Yeah.
So even a donkey like me can understand. Today,
Yeah.
we are diving headfirst into one of the most exciting
Absolutely.
and often misunderstood
Yeah.
parts of the game.
For sure.
Flush and straight draw.
Yeah, flush and straight draws, baby. That's the good stuff.
I've been given like a stack of videos and articles and even some like high-level strategy guides,
Oh, right.
all focused on mastering these bad boys.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So
We're going to break it down for you.
yeah, let's get into it.
Yeah.
What's the biggest mistake that you think most players make when they flop a flush or a straight draw?
Oh, man. The biggest mistake. Getting too fixated on the name of the hand.
Oh.
You know, it's like you see those two hearts on the flop and you're like, baby flush draw. And suddenly you're just married to the hand.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm totally guilty of that.
Of course we all are.
I see a flush draw and my brain just shuts off.
Right.
Tunnel visions.
It's like, oh my God, this is the nuts. I'm going to win this hand.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like the only hand that matters, right?
Right.
But you're saying
Huh.
there's more to it?
The pros,
Um,
they know better.
Yeah.
They're thinking about equity,
Okay.
the actual percentage chance of winning the hand.
Okay.
And you know what? Sometimes even the best looking flush draws ain't all that great.
What? You're telling me that flopping the nuts,
Yeah.
the absolute nuts,
Yeah.
with a flush draw
Yeah.
can still be a losing proposition?
Sometimes
Bullshit.
Not bullshit, my friend. Cold hard math.
Oh, God. I know it's tough to hear.
Math?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's say you flop the nut flush draw.
Okay.
Right. You have ace, king of hearts.
Okay.
The board comes with two other hearts.
Okay.
Looks amazing, right?
Oh, yeah, baby.
You're feeling good.
Yeah. Yeah.
If your opponent has a set
Oh, no.
or even just two pairs,
Oh, God.
your chances of winning
Yeah.
are actually less than 50-50.
Really?
It's true.
Oh, my God, you're blowing my mind here.
It's all about the math.
So how do we figure out this equity thing?
Okay, so
Like, do I need to become a math whiz to
no.
figure this out?
You don't need a PhD in mathematics.
Okay.
Don't worry about that.
All right.
There are tools and calculators out there that can help you.
Yes.
But the key is to understand the concept.
Okay.
It's not just about the name of your hand.
Okay.
It's about the actual odds of winning
Right.
based on the cards that are out
Right.
and the cards that are still to come.
Makes sense.
You know?
Okay, so equity is king.
Equity is king.
Got it.
All right.
What else do these poker gurus
Okay.
preach about playing draws
Well,
besides equity?
one thing that came up again and again
Yeah.
was aggression.
These guys were all about raising with those draws.
Okay.
Forget about passively checking
Okay.
and hoping to hit your hand.
Right.
You got to put the pressure on your opponents.
That's music to my ears.
I know you like that.
I love an aggressive play.
Right.
But why is raising so important?
Okay.
Why not just call and see what happens?
There's a few reasons why raising is the way to go.
Okay.
Number one, it creates fold equity.
Okay.
That
I
means
like where this is going.
you might just scare the shit out of your opponent
Yeah.
and win the pot right then and there.
Oh, yeah.
Even if you don't hit your draw,
I love that.
it's like mental warfare.
Yeah.
You know?
Making them fold when they could have a decent hand.
Exactly. Making them fold even when they might have a better hand.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of it.
Right.
Number two,
Yeah.
raising prevents your opponents from realizing their equity.
Okay. What does that mean?
So think about it.
Okay.
If you just call,
Okay.
they get to see another card for free. Right.
Increasing their chances of hitting a better hand.
Yeah.
But if you raise,
Yeah.
they have to pay a price to stay in the game.
Okay.
It's like charging rent for those lucky bastards.
So we're not just trying to hit our draw.
Right.
We're trying to control the pot
Exactly.
and force our opponents to make tough decisions.
That's the name of the game.
Okay, I like it.
And number three,
That's-
raising gives you a chance to win the pot.
Yeah.
Even if you don't hit your draw.
Oh,
We'll get into bluffing later.
okay.
But the point is, aggression keeps your opponents guessing
Okay.
and gives you more ways to win.
I'm sold on aggression.
Good.
But how much should we be raising?
Okay, that's a good question.
Are we talking shoving all our chips in every time we flop a flush draw?
Whoa there, cowboy. Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Okay.
The size of your raise depends on a few things,
Okay.
like your opponent's bet size
Okay.
and your position at the table.
All right. Let's unpack that.
Okay.
First, opponent's bet size.
What's the deal with that?
Well, a small bet from your opponent
Yeah.
might mean they're weak.
Okay.
Maybe they're just trying to steal the
Yeah.
pot
Yeah.
or see a cheap card.
Yeah.
In those cases,
Uh-uh.
you can be more aggressive with your raises.
So like a small bet is like a green light
Yeah, pretty much.
to fire a big raise back at them?
Yeah, put the fear of God in those passive little bitches.
Right.
But a big bet from your opponent
Yeah.
usually means they have a strong hand
Oh.
or they're trying to represent strength.
Oh, I see.
You got to be more cautious in those spots.
Right. So if they're betting like half the pot
Yeah.
or more,
Yeah.
it's a sign they're not messing around.
Exactly. They're not playing games.
Okay.
One of the experts we were looking at,
Yeah.
Jonathan Little, he
Right.
actually ran some simulations on this.
Oh, wow.
He found that against a small bet, like
Yeah.
1.5 big blinds,
Okay.
you should be raising with a flush draw
Okay.
around 22% of the time. But against a big bet, like the size of the pot,
Yeah.
that number drops to just 6%.
Damn, that's a huge difference.
It is.
So we're raising like maniacs against small bets
Yeah.
and then being super selective against big bets.
Exactly.
Makes sense.
You got it.
All right, so we talked about the bet size.
Right.
What about position?
Position is crucial, man. When
Yeah.
you're out of position,
Okay.
meaning you're acting first.
Right.
You have less information. You don't know what your opponent is going to do.
Right.
So you're more vulnerable to getting outplayed.
It's like playing poker with one eye closed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So to compensate for that disadvantage,
Yeah.
you got to be more aggressive with those draws,
Okay.
especially when facing a small bet.
So when we're out of position, we need to fire those raises more often
Glad.
to gain control of the hand.
You're in control.
Got it.
But when you're in position, baby, that's a different story.
All right.
You get to see what your opponent does
Right.
before you make your move.
It's like having a cheat sheet, but it's totally legal.
It is.
Yeah.
You can be more patient.
Okay.
You can let your opponent hang themselves.
Oh, yeah.
And then you can swoop in for the kill.
I love that.
You can realize your equity much better in position.
So in position, we can kind of chill a little bit,
Yeah.
let the opponent make the first move,
Exactly.
and then react accordingly.
That's the idea.
Got it.
In fact, little simulations showed that
Yeah.
one in position, you should actually be raising less often with draws.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
Even against small bets.
Wow.
Seems counterintuitive.
Yeah.
But the math backs it up.
Poker is a mindfuck, man.
It is.
So we covered
Uh-huh.
equity,
Yeah.
aggression,
Yeah.
bet
Yeah.
sizing, and
Yeah.
position.
We did.
I'm already feeling like my brain is going to explode.
Don't worry.
Okay.
We're just getting started. There's a whole lot more to learn. Oh, God.
About these crafty draws.
Yeah.
Equity over hand names.
Right.
Aggression is key.
Yeah.
And position is your BFF.
Love it.
Yeah. Now let's get into some like nitty gritty scenarios.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay, let's do it.
put you to the test.
Mm.
Okay, you're in the big blind.
Okay.
Some maniac raises pre-flop.
Of course.
You call with a suited connector.
Flop comes down 2 hearts to match your hand. Bam!
Oh, yeah.
Flush draw city.
It's beautiful.
What's the play?
Well, Doc sounds like it's raising time to me,
Oh,
especially if the pre-flop raiser just throws out like a measly continuation bet.
right.
Time to turn up the heat.
Hold your horses, cowboy.
Oh.
It's not always that simple.
Okay.
Remember what Jonathan Little said about nut flush draws?
Yeah.
Those are the money makers.
Okay.
Ace high, king high.
Right.
Those are the flushes you want to be raising aggressively with.
Okay, makes sense.
You know?
They've got the best chance of winning,
Yeah.
even if we miss the flush.
Yeah, exactly.
But what about like when we're rocking like a 10 high flush draw?
Right.
Or even worse, a measly 9 high?
Uh-oh.
Are we still blasting it?
Those weaker draws, you got to tread carefully.
Okay.
You know, it all comes back to implied odds.
Right.
You hit your flush, great.
Yeah.
But will the other guy actually pay you off?
Yeah, that's a good point.
If not,
Yeah.
even if the pot odds look juicy, you're setting yourself up for a bad beat.
So with a weak flush draw, maybe just play it safe and see if we get lucky.
Sometimes.
Okay.
But don't forget about your position at the table.
Right.
Out of position.
Yeah.
You're flying blind.
Yeah.
You got to be more aggressive, even with weaker draws.
Yeah.
Especially if the raiser is min betting or giving you a cheap price.
Right out of position, we're playing catch up.
Yeah.
Got to take control of those raises.
Exactly.
But when we're in position,
in position.
you can sit back, let the other guy make the first move.
Exactly. In position, you're like a goddamn poker ninja.
Oh, yeah.
Just waiting for the perfect moment to strike.
I love it.
Let them hang themselves with a weak bet.
Yeah.
Then you pounce.
Okay. So in position, maybe we just call it that weak flush draw
Could do that.
and see what happens on the turn.
Or you could try a little move
Okay.
called floating.
Oh, yeah.
Remember we talked about that
Yeah.
call on the flop?
Yeah.
But then, bam, raise on the turn.
Whoa. I like that.
Catches people off guard.
That's so sneaky.
It is.
Makes them think we hit something strong.
Exactly.
But what if we miss our draw on the turn?
Right.
Do we just give up on the bluff?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
You can always double float.
What?
Call the turn and then raise again on the river.
Holy shit.
Even more deceptive.
That's next level.
It is.
I'm writing this down.
Of course, you gotta have the balls to pull it off.
Double float.
Double float.
Okay.
It's a power move.
I love it.
But let's say we have a hand that's even better than a flush draw.
Okay.
What about when we flop both a flush draw and a straight draw?
Oh, my God.
Now we're talking.
That's got to be a license to print money, right?
Those combo draws are like holding a royal flush in a game of 5-card draw.
Oh, my goodness.
You got tons of equity,
Yeah.
but you still got to play them smart.
Okay, give me an example. Paint a picture for me, coach.
All right, imagine you're holding 8-9 of spades. The flop comes 7-10 jack with 2 spades.
Oh, my God.
You have an open-ended straight draw and a flush draw.
It's beautiful.
That's 14 outs.
14 ounce.
We're basically printing money at that point, right?
Right.
Not so fast. Remember, there's still 46 cards we haven't seen,
Right.
and some of them will be bad for us.
Okay, so we're not guaranteed to win.
Right.
But we're in damn good shape.
You're in great shape.
How do we play a monster hand like that?
It depends.
Okay.
The pot size.
Okay.
The stack sizes.
Ouch.
Your opponent's tendencies.
Right.
All those things matter.
So many factors.
But generally, you want to be aggressive.
Okay.
Raise, especially if the pot is small
Okay.
and you have a deep stack.
Right. Build a big pot and hope we hit one of those 14 outs.
Exactly. I'm with you.
But you also mentioned our opponent.
Right.
If we're up against a tightwad who folds to anything,
Yeah.
maybe we just smooth call and trap them.
Right.
You got to weigh the odds of building a big pot.
Versus the odds of getting a call from
Yes.
someone with a weaker hand.
That's a good point.
Poker's all about finding those sweet spots.
This is some high-level shit, man.
It is.
I'm feeling a headache coming on.
Don't worry, we'll take a break soon.
Oh, thank God.
But let's go back to those pesky one-card flush draws for a minute.
Okay.
Any more wisdom to drop on how to play those little devils?
All right. Yeah, let's talk about those.
Those one-carders?
Yeah.
They're the heartbreakers of the poker world.
Yeah, they really are.
You know?
You think you got it?
Yeah, they're so tempting.
Yeah.
Remember, implied odds are much lower with these draws compared to two-carders.
Right.
Yeah.
Because even if we hit the flush, someone else might have a better one.
Exactly.
Plus, we only have 9 outs instead of 18.
That's right.
So
Yeah.
it's a lot riskier.
Much riskier.
Calling with a one-card flush draw can be a recipe for disaster,
It can.
even if the pot odds look tempting.
Even if it looks juicy.
Got to be really careful.
You gotta be careful.
All right, so let's say we're on the flop,
Okay.
holding that lonely one-card flush draw,
Okay.
and the villain throws out a monster bet. What's
Oh.
the play?
In most cases, fold, baby, fold.
Real?
You're not getting the right price to call.
Okay.
Your chances of getting a big payout, even if you hit, are slim.
So even if we've got the nuts, the ace high flush draw,
Yeah.
we should probably fold to a big bet.
Yeah, it might sound crazy.
That's crazy.
I know, but poker isn't about chasing every draw. It's about making profitable decisions in the long run.
Damn, this game is ruthless.
It is.
But one-card flush draws proceed with extreme caution.
Proceed with caution.
Noted.
Good. Now let's talk about those times
Okay.
when you're playing with a short stack.
All right.
Changes the whole game.
Short stack poker, that's a whole different beast.
It is a different beast.
What's like the main difference in strategy when we're running low on chips?
When you're short stacked,
Yeah.
your priority shifts from building pots to realizing equity.
Okay. Realizing equity, that's about getting our fair share of the pot
Yeah.
based on how likely we are to win, right?
Bingo.
Okay.
When stacks are shallow, you can't afford to wait around and see flops.
Right.
You got to make your move when you have a strong hand.
So does that mean we should be jamming every hand pre-flop?
Not quite.
Okay.
You got to be careful about committing all your chips
Right.
with a hand that's not a clear favorite.
For example.
Okay, let's say you have 10 big blinds left
Okay.
and you flop a flush draw.
Okay.
Seems good, right?
Yeah.
But if you raise and your opponent shoves all in,
Uh-oh.
you're probably better off folding.
Really?
Even if you have the nut flush draw.
Even with the nuts?
Even with the nuts.
Because we're risking our tournament life.
You're risking your tournament life.
On a draw.
On a draw.
Right.
In that spot, it's better to just call
Okay.
and hope to hit the flush on the turn or river.
Okay, so short stack poker is all about choosing our battles carefully.
Yes.
And making sure we get our money in good.
You got it.
Roll.
Be selective with your starting hands.
Right.
Avoid those coin flip situations where you can lose everything.
Man, there are so many different factors to consider in this game.
There are.
No wonder those poker pros make it look so easy.
I know.
They're like chess masters thinking 10 steps ahead.
It takes time, practice,
Yeah.
and a whole lot of study to master this game.
Right.
But anyone can improve their skills with effort.
Absolutely.
So don't give up.
All right. So we've covered flush draws,
Yeah.
straight draws,
Uh-huh.
one-card flush draws.
Yep.
Short stack strategy.
We did?
Hell, we even talked about some fancy moves.
I know, right?
Like floating and double floating.
We went deep.
Is there anything else we need to know about playing draws?
The most important thing,
Yeah, go on.
and all the experts agreed on this,
Okay.
is to be unpredictable.
Oh, I like that.
You know what I mean?
You mean mix up our play?
Yeah.
So our opponents can't figure out what we're holding.
If you always raise with your flush draws,
Yeah.
they'll pick up on that pattern.
Yeah.
Then they'll start folding when you raise
Right.
and calling when you don't.
Right. You become predictable.
You become a predictable robot.
A robot.
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't want to be a robot.
Right. Got to keep them guessing.
Got to keep them guessing.
Sometimes raise.
Yeah.
Sometimes call. Sometimes float. Sometimes double float.
Exactly. The more options you have,
Yeah.
the tougher you are to play against.
I like that.
It's like having a whole arsenal of weapons.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Poker weapons.
Poker weapons.
Man, this is making my head spin,
I know.
but in a good way.
Good.
I'm starting to feel like a real poker shark.
Don't get cocky, kid.
Okay.
There's always more to learn.
True. True. But I'm definitely on the right track.
You are.
All right, let's keep this train rolling.
Let's do it.
What else have these poker wizards got for us? All right, you poker prodigies, welcome back for the final showdown of our flush and straight draw showdown.
Yeah.
We've covered a ton of ground, equity aggression, bet sizing position.
All the good stuff.
Hell, we even talked about some next level moves like floating and double floating.
That's right. We went deep.
But
Yeah.
what happens when the poker gods just aren't on our side and those beautiful draws don't hit?
Ah, the pain.
Do we just wave the white flag and surrender?
Not so fast, my friend.
Okay.
Remember that polarized bluffing strategy we talked about earlier?
Yeah.
It can be especially effective when you've completely whiffed on your draw.
Okay.
It's like turning lemons into lemonade, or in this case, turning a busted flush draw into a pot of gold.
Right. So for those of us who haven't memorized every poker term under the sun,
Right.
remind me what polarized bluffing is all about.
It's pretty simple, really.
Uh-huh.
It means you're only bluffing with the absolute worst hands in your range. The hands you'd be mucking if your opponent even thought about checking.
So if I've got a busted flush draw with like queen high, maybe I consider a bluff.
Yeah.
But if I've got ace high,
Right.
I probably wouldn't.
You got it. That ace high draw still has some showdown value,
Right.
and it blocks the ace high flush that your opponent might be folding to a bluff.
Okay.
You want to pick bluffs that won't scare your opponent into call.
Sneaky, sneaky.
Gotta be sneaky.
So we're basically taking those busted draws that are completely worthless and turning them into weapons of mass destruction.
That's exactly it.
I love it.
Yeah, turn those trash hands into profit.
But how do we know when it's a good spot to fire off a bluff?
Well, that's where your poker brain comes in.
Oh, God.
You got to read your opponent.
Mm,
Consider the board texture, the betting history,
right.
and the overall flow of the game. It's
Okay.
not just about randomly firing bets.
Yeah.
It's about picking your spots carefully.
Man, it's like a game of high-stakes chess, except with cards and chips instead of wooden pieces.
It really is.
So much to think about.
Poker is a beautiful game.
It is.
It's all about putting the pieces of the puzzle together.
Yeah.
And making the best decision based on the information you have.
Okay, so let's say we do hit our draw.
Yeah.
We flop that beautiful flush or straight.
Okay.
You made your hand. How do we squeeze every last dollar out of our opponent?
Once you've made your hand, it's all about value extraction.
Value? Okay, that means getting as much money from our opponent as possible, right?
That's right.
Like milking a cow till there's not a drop left.
Exactly. Milking that cow for all it's worth.
Okay.
And the key to extracting maximum value
Yeah.
is to make your opponent think you have a weaker hand than you actually do.
Ah, the art of deception.
That's what it's all about.
So are we talking about slow playing?
Yeah.
Like acting like we're still chasing the draw when we've already hit it?
Slow playing can be a powerful weapon, but it's a double-edged sword.
Okay.
If you're too passive, you might give your opponent a free card,
Right.
and they could end up beating you with a lucky draw.
Right. So slow playing is kind of a risky move.
It can be.
What are some other ways to get those chips flowing our way?
Well, betting for value is always an option,
Okay.
but you got to choose your bet size carefully.
Okay, what do you mean? How do we figure out, like, the perfect bet size?
You want to bet an amount that your opponent is likely to call even if they have a weaker hand.
Okay.
If you bet too much, they might fold and you miss out on value.
Right.
But if you bet too little,
Yeah.
they might get a free card and hit a miracle hit.
They're not too big that they fold, but not too small that they get lucky.
That's the sweet spot.
It's a delicate balancing act.
It is.
So we've got all these different strategies for playing draws, raising, calling, floating, bluffing, slow playing, value betting.
We've covered it all.
How the hell do we know which one to use in a given situation?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It is.
There's no magic formula,
Right.
no flowchart that tells you exactly what to do.
Okay.
It all comes down to experience, intuition,
Right.
and a deep understanding of the game.
So basically, the more poker we play, the better we'll get at making those tough decisions.
Exactly. The more hands you see, the more situations you encounter,
Yeah.
the more you'll develop that sixth sense for reading the game
Right.
and making the right plays.
We practice, practice, practice.
Practice makes perfect.
And maybe a little bit of luck wouldn't hurt either.
Luck is always welcome at the poker table.
Right.
But over the long haul, skill and strategy will always prevail.
All right, so we've reached the end of our epic journey into the wild world of flush and straight draws.
It's been a wild ride,
It has been a wild ride.
but we made it.
We did.
Hopefully you learned a thing or two along the way.
My brain is fried, but I'm feeling like a brand new poker player.
That's what we like to hear.
This is awesome.
Remember, this is just the beginning of your poker adventure. There's always more to learn, more to improve, and more money to win.
Damn right. So keep those cards flying, those chips stacking, and those brains working.
That's right.
And if you ever need a refresher on how to play those tricky flush and straight draws, head over to www.romperroompoker.com for articles, videos, and all sorts of other poker goodies.
Yeah, we got you covered.
Until next time, you degenerates, good luck, and may the flop be ever in your favor.
See you next time.
Romper room where we ball a break. Big wins, big losses, all at stake. Party vibe, poker life, always crunk. Feel rich, feel broke, that's just the funk, yeah. Seen boys rise, seen boys fall. Bluffing stacks, risking it all. Got the queens, thought I locked the pot. Straight flush flip, now I'm feeling shot. It's the hustle, it's the grind, no time to assume. All in a full life in the romper room.